Hi, everyone. This is Pastor Ernie with your thought for today. Today's thought comes from the book of Genesis, chapter 19, verse 20. Now, let me give you the context here. God had spoken to Lot, and he had told him and his family, it is time to flee Sodom and Gomorrah. You were supposed to run, flee for your lives, and never look back. As a matter of fact, Lot's life was supposed to change. He was supposed to change dramatically. He had been living in a sin that was, or a city full of sin, full of wickedness. And God said, it's time for you to come out of that. It's time for me to give you a brand new start, a fresh start. And part of that fresh start meant leaving and not looking back. Now, in verse 26 of chapter 19, we're going to hear what happened to his wife. All right. But Lot's wife looked back and she became a pillar of salt. So remember the command of God. It's time to move forward. It's time to leave. It's time to leave the past behind. Let the past be in the past. It's time to move forward. I've got a fresh start for you and your family. I want to relocate you. They're going to relocate from Sodom and Gomorrah to this new town, to the city of Zor. You're supposed to move there and not look back. And yet she looked back, and looking back brought death. You know, brothers and sisters, there's a lot of times in our lives that God has delivered us out of a situation. He's brought us out of some bad thing in our past. He said it's time to move forward. And when we look back, it kind of brings death on the inside. Makes us full of bad emotions, bad things, regrets and remorse. It only brings death. We're not to look back either. We're supposed to move forward. Notice what Paul says. He says in Philippians chapter 3, verse 13, he says, brothers, not that I consider myself have taken hold of it, which means he doesn't think he's perfect yet. Doesn't think that he's been made perfect and got his act together. But he says this, but one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is forward, I move ahead. That's some great words of wisdom, isn't it? None of us are perfect. As a matter of fact, we'll never be perfect on this life. We've made mistakes, and God has taken us out of a city of wickedness too. Your former life before being a Christian, or even as a Christian, some of us have been involved in things that we shouldn't have been doing, even as believers. But it's God's plan to move us out of that city of wickedness and into a new, fresh start. And as we have that fresh start, the thing that we need to do is forget what lies behind and look forward to the future. Looking back is only going to bring death. It's only going to bring about negativity in our lives. It's time for us to move forward. So I pray today you'll start looking forward to what God will do in the future. Another great verse comes from Isaiah 43, verse 19. See, I am doing a new thing. It springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the desert and streams in a wasteland. Let God do a new thing in your life. Start looking forward and not looking backwards. Until tomorrow, God bless.